Hello and welcome. I'm Melanie Hayden of the Healing Cocoon and Massage Therapy Radio, and I will be your host for this interview with my very special guest, Anne Williams. Anne has been a licensed massage practitioner for over 23 years and is a former esthetician, certified reflexologist, aromatherapist, spa consultant, author, and educator. She is the former director of education for Associated Bodywork and Massage Professionals, where she pursued her passion for instructional design and developed support materials and resources for massage students, instructors, schools, and professional members from 2006 until 2019. Anne worked as a massage instructor for 8 years and has an emphasis on curriculum development and program implementation for Ashmead College in Washington State. And in 2004, she became their director of education at the Tacoma campus. Anne and her husband and business partner, Eric Brown, are creators of the Massage Mastery online digital textbooks for the 21st century massage therapist. They are also the authors of the newly released Preventing Disease Transmission in a Massage Practice. This is what we're going to talk about today. Just before we get started, I'll share a little bit about my background. I've been practicing massage therapy for over 25 years, and my practice has always been focused on whole health and wellness and providing my clients with resources to support and maintain their health and well-being far beyond the massage room. My passion and love for lifelong learning is manifested through the creation of hosting professional conferences, urban girlfriend getaway local retreats, and for over 13 years, I've been bringing educators and students together into the virtual classroom on several platforms, including as a co-founder of the World Massage Conference. I'm really excited to have Anne today here. So welcome, Anne, to the Healing Cocoon and Massage Therapy video podcast room.
Thank you so much for having me. It's exciting to be here and to share our new project.
Yeah, this is a big project that you guys have been working on for the past 2 months, like really full time. So
yes,
starting in March, as we, started shutting down practices and started to take a look at what was happening on a global scale. And, just that gives us the framework of our discussion today too, because we're in the middle of May, or just actually early May, and we're just starting to re-enter, going back into practice, or just thinking about going back into practice. So this is really pertinent information, and it's really important information so that we can empower ourselves and let our clients know that we're doing something really important and that we're taking really good care of them.
Yeah. And it's a really big decision, I think, and a decision, people are making different choices based on where they live and the communities in which they're practicing. And I think it's sometimes this conversation has become quite aggressive or kind of polarized because we're really all dealing with a lot of unknowns. And so I think that we have to stay in a space where we are holding a discussion, where we're listening to one another, where we're asking good questions, where we're willing to do the work to find the information we need and make sure that that information is reliable, and where we're staying soft and kind. Mm-hmm. That, I think, is where I'm trying to come from as we share this digital textbook that we've created.
Wow, that's a really important message, I think, that you just shared. So thank you, Anne. I'm really blown away by the content that's in here and just my own experience of already going through it. But I just want to share one of the things that you start out, the very first thing right at the beginning of your context, and you say, while COVID-19 contraindicates massage in the strictest terms, an emergency of this enormity highlights the need to be hyper-aware of cleanliness, sanitation, and disease prevention practices. Clients want to know that massage professionals are taking every precaution to ensure their safety. So I thought that was just such a perfect way to frame what's happening right now.
Yes, I think in the textbook, one of the things that we talk about a lot is we're going to have to supercharge everything. Our knowledge, our sanitation and hygiene practices, our understanding of standard precautions and the use of personal protective gear, We're going to have to change many of our policies to make sure that our clients are informed and safe, or as safe as we can make them. And if we're literally going back to practice, which is not my decision to make for any therapist, it's each individual's decision to make on their own based on what is happening in their community. If we go back to practice, we have to understand that we're assuming quite a lot of risk, and that we're also putting risk, our clients are assuming risk, and everyone needs to be fully informed of the risks to participate in massage. So it's an unprecedented time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a time when, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty, and I think this product is trying to address some of that. It's trying to provide structure where structure is possible. But the whole last chapter, which is about human coronaviruses, that chapter isn't really about this is what you must do. That chapter is, let's hold a discussion about how COVID-19 will impact our world right now and going forward. Let's hold a discussion about the factors we need to think about to open our practices with the least amount of risk. If COVID is present in your community, then you are assuming some risk as a massage therapist, and you should there's no mistake about that. And part of that decision-making process has to come from, what are your own risk factors? Like, I'm 55 years old and I have asthma and high blood pressure. I'm at high risk. I don't want to catch this disease. And I want to go visit my parents, take a little road trip and visit my parents. So they are really at high risk, and I need to be protecting them. But that's a decision each of us has to make. So
yeah, and it's a decision
we were going to talk
oh, sorry.
Go
it's a
ahead.
Decision that our clients
I'm
have
sorry,
to make
I
as well.
cut you off.
No, that's okay.
Yes.
You hit the nail on the head, as far as like just also remembering that those are the decisions that our clients are making at the same time that we're making them in our own personal lives.
Yeah. And we have to assume that as healthcare providers and people who are paying attention to these issues, we likely know a lot more about this than our clients know. So they may be coming to us with the expectation that we can provide a completely safe environment. And I think we have to be clear that if COVID is present in a community, we cannot completely ensure their safety. We can take a lot of precautions. We can do everything in our power to prevent disease transmission. But this is a highly contagious condition, and a lot of people are asymptomatic carriers. So everyone who walks through the door is potentially contagious, and you yourself as a therapist are potentially contagious without knowing it because you may not have symptoms. So I think that's really one of the most terrifying things, or the things that we have to pay the most attention to. So one of the things that is covered in the final chapter of Preventing Disease, under the discussion about the world of COVID-19 in massage, is informed consent. And it's interesting because informed consent is well known in many states and not really that well known to the massage community in other states. It's defined as the right of clients to participate in choices that involve their bodies, and the fact that a fully informed client is the only type of client who's able to consent to massage practice. So we have to be open with our clients. I share some language in the book about how you might want to frame your informed consent document, but you want a client's written consent that they understand that COVID is present in the community and they are still seeking massage. And there are lots of clients, lots of people I've talked to who can't wait to get back to massage. Their bodies are hurting. Yeah. They miss their massage therapist, this person who was, you know, a body, mind, spirit support for them. That lack or that loss of structured therapeutic touch, they are feeling it and they want it back. It's one of the things that they're missing. So we have to make sure that if we're willing to entertain the risk for ourselves and our family, that they also are informed so that they can make the right choices for their family. And I would advise that if your client's high risk in terms of having, underlying conditions, they should forego massage at this time. This is not there. We're already carrying kind of an ethical burden, in that we can't completely ensure that we can create a safe environment. So high risk clients, not a good time to come back, unless maybe if you're in Wyoming or Montana, where they have very few cases and their caseload has been dropping. They have no new cases showing up. Wyoming never had a lot of cases. If you're in Wyoming, I think you can probably practice massage safely, but anywhere else,
Well, and that's the whole purpose of education, right? Like we're saying, educate ourselves, empower ourselves to make the right decisions for ourselves and as best we can for our clients. So again, we are going back to practice. I'm in Alberta. We are still shut down, but we're starting to look at opening up again. And now what I love, now we're starting to see the organizations, our associations, our regulatory and licensing organizations are starting to provide us with guidelines. So this is getting really good. And so what inspired you and Eric to create this this textbook? And I'm going to say textbook in quotes because it's so much more than a textbook.
Yeah. Well, we have been, it's not really a long story. I'll try to keep it concise if that's possible for me. Back in 2018, Lippincott, Williams, and Wilkins, who published 2 of my textbooks, Spa Bodywork and Massage Mastery from Student to Professional, they let all of their massage therapy authors know that they were discontinuing their massage line. But what that meant was that all of us got our textbooks back. And at the time, I was working a full-time job and really overwhelmed, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my books. I didn't want to place them with a publisher because I already sort of had this feeling that traditional publishing was no longer for me. I had this sense that we could do more. And as an educator and as somebody who's studied instructional design and really worked with students in schools and instructors over the last 14 years, and even before that, when I worked at a school, I have constantly looked for ways that you make reading assignments more engaging. They're kind of at the core of content. They're the anchor for content in a classroom, but students don't use their textbooks. They don't even bring them to class because they're too heavy. They use them as a doorstop and they quickly resell them on the used textbook market. Students don't engage with the material because it's not a very effective format. So I was already looking, how do you create a format where textbooks can really inspire and engage a learner? And some people look at preventing disease transmission and they say, this is more like a course than a textbook. And that's true. It's built on a learning management platform, so it has a coursey sort of feel to it. It has elements that you might see in a course, but all those things, hopefully, this is obviously my vision, all those things ask you, invite you, draw you into the content and make it a much richer experience. Like Preventing Disease Transmission is 8 chapters long. It's not a long book. And it has over 200 images. because it's in this online digital format, the images, you can just illustrate. It has all of these interactive features. We can include video, we can include learning games, we can include quizzes, and we can give you feedback on your answers. We can take you through scenarios and let you work through those scenarios. So for me, as a creative person who didn't want a flat textbook ever again for her material, this is like a dream come true. But Eric and I, we knew that we were going to do this, and we expected to launch next year in 2021. But what happened is schools who were already using Massage Mastery and Spa Bodywork, they were running out of copies. So Amazon was jacking up the price. You could pay $89 to $120 for a copy of Massage Mastery. And schools were saying, hey, when are you coming out with a new edition? So Eric said, let's get this up in a basic format in our learning platform right now. And he took it over and he did it in 2 weeks. But I have since then been reworking all of the content, doing a complete revision to fit this new format that I have, this very inventive, creative format. So to write a chapter for this new format takes me about 3 times as long. It's incredibly labor intensive. And then you literally are building out every page and adding all the interactive elements. It's quite a production. So when COVID hit, I had all of the material except the last chapter, which is on COVID-19. I had that material written already for this format. So it was really up to Eric, my little technological get anything done,
Yes.
sees no obstacles. Where other people see obstacles and stop, he says, I'm going to figure out how to do this. He said, okay, we're going to need to upgrade everything. Our servers, our back end. We got a developer. We started throwing money at it, which is really scary right now. And we were able to produce it within about 5 weeks. So I wrote the final chapter and we started to build it out. And I think I'm pretty thrilled with the result. I wish it weren't happening under these circumstances where there's so much fear and confusion, but I love the product in that it's doing what I think a textbook should do, which is invite people into content and make the content more lively, and also work to reinforce learning the way that learning happens. Like I work definitely from a specific instructional design paradigm that I've adapted and adopted over the last 14 years of being interested in instructional design. So it's very eclectic. It pulls from a lot of different sources. But I very much believe that learning happens in 3 levels. And at level 1, a learner really has to comprehend. They have to understand something to be able to just take it in. And then they have an initial response to it. And that response is very basic. It's, I get this and I can take more. Or that initial response is, I don't get this and I'm out. And that's really what we do as learners. Like if we don't have the proper context for something, we're out pretty fast. So I needed to have a format that could create the proper context, because once you learn that level 1 material, you move on to level 2. And at level 2 of content, you apply what you know in new ways and in new situations. And the minute you start to apply what you know, you make connections to other things that you know. You sort of fill in all your own learning gaps. You settle into the content and you start to apply it to your own life and your own needs. So what I can do in this new format is easily take a learner to level 2 of learning. And in some cases, I can even take them to level 3. And level 3 is where you start to solve problems with content, where you know content well enough, you own it well enough that you can solve your own problems with it. So this format has allowed me that sort of magic to teach. Usually textbooks can only teach to level 1. I can teach to level 2 and sometimes to level 3 in this format. And to me, that's flippin' thrilling. That's the 21st century.
It is. And I was blown away by going through the chapters. And like you said, so it's like there's a quiz. And I loved at the end of the chapter, like you're saying, that interactive piece and that applying things. And you could check it and it gives you stars. And so it was exciting to me.
You got it right.
To go through it. And speaking of going through it, can you just share what the experience is, a little bit about what the experience is going to be like? Because I'm excited about not just the content, again, for the empowerment that we really need right now, but for the method that we're learning here. It's really exciting too.
I would love to. So I know I share my screen somewhere, but I don't see it coming up.
All right. It should be.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
All right. So here we go. And
there we go.
This is the introductory page. So once you register, and remember, it is free. We're making it free to everyone. You come to this page, this introductory page, and what you can see right away is on the right-hand side, there's navigation, and these are all live links. So you can jump into any chapter that you want. And these expand. And when you complete something, if you mark it complete, it will check it off for you so that you know you've completed it. And we'll jump into chapter 3 really quick. And I'm sort of in my testing thing, so it's a little bit slow. But what you also see as we move into chapter 3, which is understanding the mechanics of disease transmission, you'll see that there's a terminology preview and then different topics: chain of infection, modes of transmission, apply it, and the chapter quiz. So I am a huge proponent of previewing terminology because I know that it improves your comprehension of any content. And what's fun about this is you have these definition cards, and we're actually adding audio. So all these cards will have audio pronunciations soon. They don't have them yet, where you'll be able to have the card read to you. So if you don't know how to pronounce a particular word, it will improve your pronunciation. And there's my favorite education theorist, Lev Vygotsky. He says, we think in words and pictures. If you don't have a picture, you don't have the concept. If you don't have the words, you can't think about a concept. So pronunciation is really important. So as you kind of scroll, you can read the definitions, and it really it's fun. It pulls you in. You can also take notes. You just click on this. You can take notes on any piece of it, save your notes and come back to them. You can download them and also print them if you want to. I think that's a really easy and fun sort of feature. As we move sort of into a chapter, what you'll really see is that we're able to, oops, I gotta move this over a little. We're able to include a lot of visuals because, again, it's digital, so we don't have to print it and worry about the printing costs of all those pictures. And you're able to really just move through content in a structured manner, and it pieces the content out, so it chunks it. And that's really super important for learners, especially for students. So everything has a summary, and references are all in this box. I use 2 different types of referencing. I reference specifically to numbers in the content. So if I'm specifically referencing something, you have the link, but I also share sources, which are good additional reading material. And when you mark something complete, it keeps track of where you're at in the program. But now I'll jump to and apply it, and my favorite apply it, because this is the level 2 of learning that we talked about. This is where you start to really engage with content. And in this, oh, I guess I jumped to the chapter. We'll jump to the apply it now. So what this will do is, I like this one because we're in chapter 7, which is infectious diseases and your massage practice. And we talk about the common things. We're not talking about COVID-19 yet. We're talking about the common cold, fungal infections, hepatitis, HIV/AIDS, lice, and mites. So what I've done here is I'm able to create a game where we put you in the scenario of a client with a cold and how you're going to deal with it and some of the choices you have to make. Or in this case of the second scenario, a client with hepatitis C. And each of these is a different slide, and it sort of takes you through the scenario, and then you answer questions. And in some of them, there's a discussion. So if you get it wrong, like I just did on purpose, it will say, here's something to consider that helps you sort of use the material and discuss the material and really apply the material in a new way and in a new situation. So that's really fun. But let's go to coronaviruses and take a look at chapter 8. And what you're going to find when we enter this chapter is I've set it up first to provide a lot of context, and because that's super important for learning. So we'll really talk about an overview of human coronaviruses. We'll talk a little bit about SARS and MERS because that helps us understand the world of coronavirus and how spillover events happen and how those diseases are transmitted. And then we'll move to COVID-19. And this is a place where I've gathered together everything that we currently know about COVID-19 and trying to also hold space for what we suspect but don't know and be very clear about we suspect this, but we don't know this yet because there is a lot we don't know. And here is, right here under the notes section, you see the true beauty of a digital textbook. Every week, I'm going back through information related to COVID-19 and I'm updating everything. So you'll know based on the updates, the dated updates, when something was shifted, changed, or when I improved it because new information came out or there were some changes. So last Friday, I did my last update, and I update every single Friday. And there were 2 new things that came out of those updates. The first was that the CDC has added some symptoms. We suspected from China that digestive symptoms could occur for many people. But the CDC had only sort of listed those very briefly. Now they're going much more in depth and saying, yes, people can develop very much diarrhea, vomiting, all these other digestive symptoms that we didn't think were related to COVID-19 that we know now possibly are. And often these symptoms come on and then disappear before respiratory symptoms occur. So that's really interesting. The other thing I found out in my latest update was that the CDC is making new recommendations about pets. Originally, they were saying, no, your pets can't get COVID-19 from you if you're sick. They can't pick it up from other pets. And now they're saying they're being much more cautious, and they're saying, yes, there are instances where pets have picked this up from their owners. If you are sick and self-isolate away from your pets. Keep your pets away from other people's pets and keep your pets away from other people. So that's a really big shift that's occurred because originally it was like, nah, your pets are fine. Now the CDC is saying something different. And we have to be ready for the information to continue to evolve. Finally, let's talk about this final chapter of preventing disease transmission. And in this chapter, it really talks about what it means to welcome clients back to practice. And you and I discussed this at the top of the hour, like this is a conversation. No one can tell anyone what to do, except we can all say that we should be legal. If our states are on lockdown, we certainly should not be practicing if it's illegal to practice. But for the rest of us, this is a tough decision to make. We all have to make it independently because it's our own lives and the lives of our families that are at risk. And we need to do it responsibly and make sure that our clients understand that we can't completely ensure that they are not at some risk, even though we can take every precaution. So one of the things I've done in this chapter, and you know, because you're a friend of mine, that my first degree is in theater, so I have a flair for the dramatic. But I wanted to use all of these pictures. They're on unsplash.com, which is a website where photographers share their imagery from all over the world. So I've illustrated this particular chapter with pictures from about COVID from around the world. And what I think that this does is really help us understand the enormity of the times that we're living through and how all of us were caught off guard, how none of us saw this coming, how disorienting it can be to feel completely removed from your parents, your family members, your grandparents, your friends, how we sort of hold space for the fact that this is a big event and that it's okay that we feel anxious and sad and scared. And that this is the backsplash of our lives, no matter what we decide, no matter what we believe. Like there are many people who believe that COVID-19 is a hoax. Obviously, I don't believe that, or I wouldn't have written this textbook. But people believe that, and that's so hard because if you're afraid of it, then it's hard to hear that because you know those people are potentially putting themselves and others at risk. But that is still a discussion we should have. We shouldn't say, no, you're wrong. We should say, I want to hear from you. Why do you feel that? I want to hear from you. Why do you believe what you do? And how do we have a conversation that helps all of us gain in knowledge and understanding and in safety? So this chapter really discusses everything I think we have to be discussing. And there is a section about, like I do, can we wait it out? And a piece on where to get financial benefits and how we factor in the risk to our own family members and to ourselves. And then really talking about what does our world look like right now? What are we going to have to do? And we're going to have to supercharge our cleaning, our sanitation, our hygiene, our policies, our practices, our use of PPE. All of that is going to have to change. It's a new world. And even if you don't believe that COVID-19 is a big deal, many of your clients will, and they're going to be looking at your practices and they're going to be saying, is this place safe? Is it clean? Am I protected here? So I talk a lot about policies and policy changes. I talk a lot about informed consent, and I start a conversation. And I think that's all we can do right now. And I am committed to updating the product every single week.
That's fabulous. And again, that's the beauty of the digital piece. You talked about, Anne, in there about, what's happening around the globe. So that's the other piece of this seems like this is applicable to every practitioner, no matter where you live and work around the globe.
Yes, and I think I told you a little bit about this. We've seen this product go global, and we were completely not global, English speaking, I think is maybe a better phrase. It was so a person who runs the Irish Massage Association saw a copy of this, registered for the free copy, read it, loved it, and then shared it with their organization. They also shared it with one of the Australian organizations for massage therapy, and with the UK. And so we've had registrations from Australia, Canada, the US, the UK, and Ireland, and one in Norway.
Yeah,
So, that honestly, as somebody who put their heart and soul into it, that means a whole lot to me. That means a lot. And that's really exciting. And I hope it can be helpful. That's the goal, is to help and to.
Oh my gosh, it's so incredible. Do you have anything else you want to share?
I don't. I feel like I just went.
Yeah, that's it. It was great. Do you want to now?
Click out. Yeah.
Yeah, out of your screen share. There we go. Perfect. Just a couple more things, because again, thank you for walking us through that. And it's such an important piece for us right now. This textbook, this course, this information, and I love that you are taking the opportunity, one, to share it for free to everyone. That's huge because of the amount of work that you put into it. So thank you to you and Eric for doing that. It's a really, really big deal for people right now. I love that it's, really the information came from resources, and then you also allow for discussion. So there is both there. You talked about discussion too, with your clients and our family members. That's something that I think we should encourage our clients to do as well, to say, make sure you discuss it with your family members, that they're comfortable that you're coming for massage. Because I have clients who have parents or partners who are compromised, who go see their parents who are elder, like exactly what you were talking about. So I think we also need to encourage our clients to empower themselves and to make sure that they're having the discussions with their families, so they're not coming for a massage feeling like their partner doesn't support it. So because that's, it's not going to make for a very good massage for them. It's not going to make for a great experience for them. And one of the other things too that I really loved about the program that you've developed and the information that you have is you have downloadable posters that I can put into my massage room.
Yeah.
And downloadable checklists.
Yes. I love like the ancillary materials. I love to create ancillaries where you sort of bring the content alive, and it can move beyond the confines of wherever it lives. So I wanted to make those client education pieces easier. So there are posters that you can post. There's some policy language that you can utilize. There's a checklist, like cleaning checklists, so that because it's like, we're going to have to get really good at how we sanitize. Like, what product are we using? Is it the right product? And that's kind of a great thing about COVID-19. The research shows that it responds to our typical, it's killed or eliminated by the typical cleaning products that we're already used to using. So I've made the recommendation to move to a hypochlorite, which is a bleach-based product, even though a bleach-based wipe will eliminate it on hard surfaces. So it's not like we need some special products. And I think that's been a question for a lot of people. But it's following that checklist, making sure that we've actually wiped down every surface. And that's because it's likely, again, staying cautious because we don't exactly know all of the ways it's transmitted, but it's droplet contact, right? And that means that even exhaling, even quietly talking, right now, if I were COVID positive, about 3 feet around me at least, airspace is contaminated with COVID-19 particles that you could inhale. And when we think about massage, we are right in each other's airspace. So I believe we both need to be wearing N95 masks. We need to be very careful. So yeah, I've tried to make it as easy for people to update some of those practices as possible. And, honestly, it's interesting because on our Facebook page, where we've kind of opened it up for discussion, Some people in certain states are saying, oh, this is all what we learned in school. And I'm like, oh, wow, where'd you go to school? Good school, because they taught you very comprehensive information about this. But in most schools, or in many schools that you see, what happens is this is kind of core content. It's really basic. And everybody's like, let's move on to muscles that are really complicated and fun. So I think it gets short shift sometimes. This sort of like, let's all make sure that we're decontaminating our hands properly.
Exactly.
So it's a good refresher for people if you are worried that maybe you didn't get the training you needed, or your practices have fallen off in some way. Your sanitation and hygiene practices have maybe gone a little astray because, you know, everybody's used to picking up the common cold. It's not
right.
It's not something we want to pass around, but it happens and we sort of accept it. This is a little bit different. This is something that might cause you lasting lung damage. We don't know.
Yeah,
We don't know.
That's right. And that's the thing, we know way more than we did, 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and 2 weeks ago. And like you said, so now the research papers are starting to come out of the countries that have had it for a long time as well. And
Yeah.
I saw, so two things. One, nowhere in massage school was I ever taught to wipe down absolutely everything and have only surfaces that I can wipe down, and to change out all of my blankets and fleeces and everything on the table, and to cover protect it, and to wash switch plates. No one ever taught that. That might have been your once a week thing, but this is after every client. So yes, we've learned some of this in school, but like you said, we're hyper. We need to get
We're
hyper.
supercharging.
Yeah, supercharging.
Well, I found out something new writing the book. Like, I didn't know that you could disperse respiratory droplets by shaking laundry. I never knew that. So, like, you don't want to take your sheets and shake them after somebody's been using them. Yeah. Or your face cradle that somebody got snot on because they were or saliva, they were drooling and getting snot all over your stuff. Like, don't shake it. Just don't shake it.
And we weren't wearing gloves before when we were, packing up our massage rooms and sanitizing it.
World.
So, yeah. One of the I watched a podcast the other day about a doctor who was working in the emergency room, and he said, we're building this airplane as we're flying it.
Yeah.
So that's really what's happening now. So, and just a couple other things, of course. Where can we get this textbook? I mean, where do we get this?
Yeah, so it's free. So you go to massagemastery.online, and as soon as you kind of scroll off the homepage, like scroll down from the homepage off the pretty picture at the top, you will see a box that is preventing disease transmission in a massage practice. You just click, it takes you to where there's some additional information, including a disclaimer. And then you click on that to access for free. Now, the way that our registration process works is you do have to give us quite a bit of information, and I know that makes people uncomfortable, but you don't have to give us your credit card. And once you're done with the textbook, if you want us to remove you from our database, we absolutely will do that. You just have to email me. But it's the only way that the system we can lock out some people, like hackers, who have a lot of time on their hands right now, and keep everybody's information safe. So you just go to massagemastery.online, scroll down, do the registration process, and you'll be able to get right into your copy.
Fabulous. Yeah, the registration was super simple. And you have a Facebook page as well?
What was that?
You have a Facebook page as well that we can join?
We do. Yeah, I don't know how you'd find that, because that would be Eric's department.
I know that I'm on it.
I'm the recluse writer. I just stay quiet in
that Facebook group. So let me just find it. Massage Mastery.
Yeah.
It's Massage Mastery online. There you go. It's exactly what you said. So jump into that Facebook group as well. Absolutely. And so I think every single business, schools and clinics and they can also
Oh
get
yeah,
access?
I should mention that
Yeah.
piece. Like one thing is lots of schools right now are trying to move content online so that they can keep their school up and running. Um, and you know, if anybody wants any support from me in terms of having an email conversation or a phone conversation, I'm happy to support schools. But you can, because of the way our platform's set up, and again, this is my amazing husband, Eric Brown, you can sign up your students in a cohort and then be able to track their progress through the text. So you'll be able to use this as online content in your school. And the same is true of the other textbooks that we have currently available. And we've also had a number of clinic managers ask us for that same feature. So as a clinic manager, just let us know in the information form that you send us that you're a clinic manager. We can set up all of your therapists and you'll be able to track their progress, meaning that everybody will be on the same page. But spas and clinics, beware, your therapists are going to hold you to a higher level of cleanliness and sanitation after this. So managers, you need to supercharge too, be my message.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We are all definitely holding each other accountable in this profession.
Yes.
There is no question. There's no question. Well, that's fantastic. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate this, what you've created, just even for me personally as a massage therapist. It's given me so much, you know, I just feel more empowered and I feel more confident in being able to help my clients, help myself as well, to ensure the best possible environment for them to get a massage and to support them in trying to make this informed decision about whether or not to get a massage and when to get a massage, and to ensure, you know, support them in their empowerment and their own confidence in coming for a massage treatment. So it's just absolutely everything. So thank you so much to you and Eric. Really, really appreciate you both on so many levels. But yeah.
And thank you for giving us the opportunity to share it with a wider audience and to get it out there in the world. I appreciate that. And I just want to say, like, this information is not something that you can't find at your massage association or state board. You just won't find it in such a comprehensive format. Like that's the difference. There are a lot of people who are sharing amazing resources in the massage world right now, and I want to honor their contribution too, and not say this is the only way to get the information you need. This is a way to get it in a digital textbook format, which I believe is the textbook of the future.
21st century massage therapist.
21st century massage, baby.
That's awesome. And just remember to subscribe to our channel, and please like and share this video with all of your fellow professionals in the massage profession. And honestly, I'm going to share it with my hairstylist and my chiropractor and other professions as well, because I want them all to have this information and a whole bunch of, like you said, a whole bunch of other information that's coming out. I've been sharing it, but this one just is so comprehensive on this front. And yeah, I'm sharing it with everybody that I also go see.
Thank you.
All right, take care, Anne. Thanks to you and Eric.
Thank you. Bye.